Hi. Welcome to the Blue Hour podcast.
I'm your host, Poseidon or Sidon.
I'm another host, YB.
And I am your third host, Shota.
Today, this is episode 1 of Blue Hour Podcast, and we'll be reading some Am I the A-Hole and other Reddit stories.
Yeah. So we actually had another episode prepared, but we did get kicked out of a library because they were closing. So now
Promise we were not in trouble.
Yeah, we didn't get in trouble. It's just it's just that they were closing and we were in one of their study rooms. And so we did have a lot prepared, but we weren't able to get to it. So we're now on Discord and we're just filming and doing Reddit stories. So I'll start us off with an Am I the A-Hole? So let's get started. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend that they overreacted to hearing my brother say something quote-unquote racist?
Yes.
First impressions. How are we feeling?
My impression is 100% you are the a-hole.
I think people did actually label this person as the a-hole. So yesterday my family had a barbecue and I invited a work colleague. She and I have been friendly with each other lately, and I thought it'd be a fun time. So we went out to my parents' house. While we were there, some of my parents' neighbors were driving fast around the neighborhood. My brother said effing N-words, and my friend was shocked. She was white, by the way, and I'm Hispanic. Well, white Hispanic, but Hispanic nonetheless. She looked at me and then said, "Excuse me," to my brother. She said that was racist and rude. My brother didn't care and said the word again. She turned to me and said that she was leaving. She called an Uber and left without eating or saying bye to anyone. Later that night, I texted her and said she overreacted and was... Don't mind the knocking. That is my dogs. Later that night, I texted her and she overreacted and said... Oh, whoopsies. Later that night, I texted her and said she overreacted and it was just a word. He wasn't calling anyone that. I said she's acting immature and needs to grow up. I tried texting her again, but later my message didn't say it delivered, so I think she blocked me. I worked home today, so I didn't see her, but I did get a call from another coworker asking me what happened because apparently this B told others that me and my family are racist. Now I'm scared that she'll get me fired and my brother, who works in the same industry, fired. Was I the a-hole for telling her she overreacted?
Yes! I hate it when people say a slur and then when other people say that was racist or homophobic or whatever, they're like, I wasn't saying that to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Slurs were made for a group of people. You're calling everyone that ever existed in that community that slur.
If it's not your place, just don't say it. It's not that hard.
Yeah, if you can't say it, don't say it.
Exactly.
It's that simple.
So, do you want to read one, or I have another one set up, so if you want to...
read one if you want.
Okay, sick. Go for it.
This is the updated version, I think. Am I the a-hole for not waking my partner up and causing him to miss a family trip? Thoughts and feelings so far. I think I've heard this one because it's gotten pretty popular, but I'm not sure.
Honestly,
I feel
you go.
yeah, a little bit.
I feel like it depends, because if it's an important family trip that they've been wanting the person to show up, then I feel yeah. But if it can happen or be moved to another date, I feel maybe no.
Yeah, if it could have been at another time, then...
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think there's a part 1. Yeah, okay. My 26 female and my partner 28 male have $5.
Dollars. $5 in their
daughters. 7, 6, 4, 3, and 5 months.
Jesus
For a long
Christ.
time, there's been an issue with him getting up to help with kids of a morning. What? with the kids of a morning. Okay.
Wake the kids up in the
All
morning?
right.
Maybe?
That's what it says. Okay, he thinks he should be able to sleep in on his days off work. Well, I think he should get up when the kids and I do, or we should at least be alternating who lies in a bit. We've been seeing a therapist who has mentioned he should be helping more in the mornings. Recently, we had a family trip planned to the zoo with both of our parents, our sisters, and their kids. Previously, when we've gone out for the day, I've needed to shake my partner awake several times, and he lies in bed while I get the kids ready. He'll finally get up 5 minutes before we leave as I shout at him I'm getting in the car. I've mentioned to him that this is very frustrating and it's a lot of work getting the kids ready to go out, and it's not fair to leave it up to me while he lies in bed. He'd apologize and promise that the next time he'd get up and help. The night before the trip, I told him I need him to be awake at 6:30 a.m. so we can get everyone ready and leave by 8 a.m. He said he'd set an alarm and we went to bed. My alarm went off at 6:30 a.m. and I got up while my partner kept sleeping. I decided I wasn't going to wake him this time, and and continued getting the kids ready. At 8 a.m., he was still sleeping. So I loaded the kids in the car and we set off. We arrived at the zoo at 9:30 a.m. and his family asked where he was. I mentioned he was still in bed and chose not to come. At 10:15 a.m., I got a phone call from him asking where everyone was. I said we went to the zoo as planned, and I waited for him to get up, but he never did. He got really mad and told me that I should have woken him up like I always do and caused him to miss the trip. He then called his mom and complained to her, who yelled at me in the middle of the zoo that I was being unfair and I should have given him a shake to let him know we needed to get up and that I was about to leave. My mother jumped in and said that it wasn't my responsibility to get him out of bed and he needed to take responsibility for himself. A few more words were exchanged and his family stalked off for the rest of the trip. I had a blast with my kids, parents, sister, and my nephews. When we got home, my partner started on me again about how I should have woken him up. So, am I the a-hole for not waking him up and going without him?
No, not at all.
No, of course not.
Literally, if it has been an issue before, and obviously, wait, is the wife writing this?
Yeah, they said at the end, a few things have come up I want to clarify. He wasn't always like this. When the oldest two were little, he was always up with them. He even got up before anyone else to cook breakfast before going off to work. We had to move in with his parents at one point, and that's where things started to change. His family is incredibly misogynistic. His dad works, comes home, watches TV, and drinks beer, while his mom does everything else, including getting him up for work, etc. These beliefs have seemed to rub off on him, and his mom is very quick to tell him something is the, quote, women's job. He's seeing a therapist independently who has suggested some forms of depression. He's generally pretty good otherwise. He will help with dinner, cleaning, putting the kids to bed, etc. He's not entirely useless. Getting out of bed in the morning is a long-standing issue, though. He has had a vasectomy before baby number 4, which turned out to be incomplete. I had a hysterectomy.
I feel like, obviously, like, communication is so important, especially in marriage, that, like, if you're not communicating how you feel to your partner, then there's definitely going to be issues. But I feel like as long as she communicated how she felt, then I feel like she's not entirely the a-hole for that.
Yeah, I get the part where, like, the parents could have rubbed off on her, but she's obviously stated that he was not like this, and there's also an updated version.
Then it's definitely the parents' issue.
Yeah. First one, but there's also an updated one, so I might read that to see.
Yeah.
After posting this, I received messages expressing concern and advice, so I thought I'd update about how things turned out. The morning after this incident, my partner got out of bed when the kids did and took the older girls out for breakfast. Later, I asked him if he'd be willing to read the thread, and he agreed. He was very subdued afterwards and didn't say much except for he was agreeing that he was the A. The next day, he took off work and saw his GP and started on antidepressants, and we had a long talk. He was ashamed by how he was acting to see strangers comparing him to children, and he cried when he realized how much he was letting everyone down, especially his daughters, who will grow up thinking this is normal behavior. He confirmed that this all started when we lived with his parents a few years back. He left home at 17 to get away from his mother, and she told him he'd fail as a man.
Oh, is this a case of the incest mother?
I don't know. This is what it says. And she told him he'd fail as men need... Oh, okay. He'd fail as men need a woman to look after them. There we go. That makes sense.
Oh my god, it is an incest mother.
He felt like a failure, so it was easy for his mother to feed him other ideas, and she would also manipulate things I did to look like he was incomplete as a person. Example, I'd tell him to go relax and I'd handle the dishes, and his mother twisted it into me thinking he was incompetent. So he should just stop helping at all. He'd wake up feeling useless, and she'd manage to convince him that he was unhappy because I wasn't taking care of him the way a wife should. He decided to go no contact with her, which didn't go well. She cried and told him that he was a horrible son for abandoning his mother, and that I was trying to control him by, quote, forcing him to do it. He blocked her, but she just used different numbers to continue calling him. After a week or so, he ended up changing his number, and we haven't heard from his family since. He brought up that he wasn't happy at work as it wasn't stimulating enough, but he felt like he couldn't leave. I offered to pick up some part-time job to work, but he said no. He talked to his boss and took some time off, but eventually quit. He spoke to my dad, who used some connections and got him a good job at his company. The new job is a primary work-from-home position, so he is able to help with the girls more and has more free time. He is able to take the girls to school and watch them play while he works, which they all enjoy. Before he started the new job, he booked us a trip to go to the snow for a week. The snow?
The snow?
Snow.
That's what it says. We had a blast, and it was lovely seeing him relaxed and happy and enjoying our girls and life. He's promised to be more honest about how he's feeling in our relationship and has approved immensely. Thank you for everyone who gave judgment and advice, and he says it's really helped him see things more clearly, especially the toxic relationship with his mother.
Oh, that's
Wow.
Oh.
I like that. That's I feel like
that too. I love how
the plot.
at least I know. That was nice.
I like how he realized what was wrong, and I feel like the fact that he cried about like just like seeing himself as a disappointment is sad. I hope this couple I literally hope they are doing well today.
I know.
That
was the updated version, which was posted 11 hours ago.
So never mind, they are doing good. I feel like definitely in the first one he was the a-hole, but now that he's definitely had some character development. That's for sure.
That is always good.
Yeah. So we have another one. So would I be the a-hole if I said my coworker's brother's death wasn't a tragedy due to how preventable it was? Initial thoughts?
I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, it depends on what it is though. Like if it was a car crash and he died, yes, dude. Most of the time, unless you're the one who caused it, those things aren't necessarily preventable. But like if it was like they were doing something stupid together and like he died, he fell off a building or something, then kind of no. Yeah. Okay, let's hear it.
Last week has been quite a disaster for my coworker, 30 female. You can call her Allie, etc. But anyway, I remember her being confident and content the day we went to work. Her brother, Rhett, 26 male, would end up falling off a roof of his house hours later. From what I heard, he was conscious at the time of the hit and believed he was okay and that he felt fine, so he didn't call emergency services. Turns out he was really messed up internally and died. When I found out Allie's brother died, I was in shock and saddened by her loss. I couldn't imagine losing a sibling. However, when I heard more information, I couldn't help but think he was reckless. What was he doing on the roof? Why didn't he call for emergency services just in case? If that was me, I would have definitely had done that, especially knowing something like this could put my family through grief and sorrow if it ended fatally. It was unfortunate that they had to lose him, but when I think of tragedy, he's not just what I think of. Careless and reckless deaths don't belong in the same context of tragedy as other types of deaths. Now, I would never say this to Allie, but I've considered venting this to other friends or coworkers, but I just don't know if they would see my point or not. Many of the coworkers especially seem like the type who would disagree with my stance, but it only makes me feel stronger in a sense. A reason why this would come off as a-hole type behavior is that Rhett was a minimum wage worker from lower class income, and he may have just decided to let go because he was afraid of being in steep medical debt if he went to the hospital. I do see a point of how class could definitely have an effect on his death, but I don't know if that was really the reasoning. I don't know him well, and I'm not a minimum wage worker. Would simply venting to someone I knew who knew Allie or Rhett other than Allie be out of line, or is it okay? But people on Reddit did actually label this person, the original poster, as an a-hole. A lot of people are saying yes.
Like it can be like a little bit in between, you know?
Yeah, I can definitely read some comments real quick from people saying that he is the a-hole. Someone said, "You would honestly be the world's biggest a-hole. Seriously, don't gatekeep someone else's grief. Just keep your mouth shut." Yes, the a-hole. There's absolutely no reason to vent about a situation that doesn't concern you beyond you trying to put your 2 cents in. Not every thought needs to be expressed out loud. Yes. Yes, the a-hole. Why would you even have a quote-unquote stance on whether or not it's a tragedy? It's tragic to his family, therefore it's a tragedy. Whether you think it was preventable or not, find something else to spend your mental energies on. For God's sake, don't go gossiping to your coworkers. Oh my gosh. The OP definitely has some point, but nonetheless, he is the a-hole for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, YB, do you have another one, or I have one pulled up as well?
I do?
Okay.
Okay.
Do we want to
This
do we want to switch off? And then Sidon can just be like the listener.
Welcome to two storytellers, one listener.
Mm-hmm.
The new name. It's me.
Okay.
Lovely. Okay, am I the a-hole for yelling at my aunt to shut up in front of a restaurant full of people?
Oh my god.
I need the context of this one to actually decide. Like, that is...
Yeah, that is like such a blunt statement. I don't know how to feel.
Like, am I the a-hole for yelling at my aunt to shut up in front of a restaurant full of people?
Gosh. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this one's kind of short. So, when I, 30 male, was 5, my family took me to one of those Japanese steakhouses where they cook where they cook the food at your table. When the cook lit the grill and the huge flames shot up in the air, it scared the heck out of me, and I ran and hid in the corner and was too afraid to come back to the table. My aunt, 64 female, has teased me about it ever since. Bro,
That was 5.
That was 25 years ago. He's 30. Why is this 64-year-old woman bullying this random 30-year-old man? Calm down. That was 25 years ago, and I swear she brings it up every single time I see her. I've told her repeatedly to stop talking about it, and my parents have also asked her to stop bringing it up, to no avail. It's gotten so tiresome and embarrassing, and she teases me about it in front of the whole family, despite me repeatedly telling her to stop. I've never really gotten along well with my aunt, and lately I've made it a point to her at family gatherings. We celebrated my birthday Friday, and I wanted to go to one of those Japanese steakhouses. I didn't invite my aunt, but my grandmother invited her behind my back. Oh, okay. I didn't know she was coming until she showed up. I was already pissed off that my grandmother invited her. She told me that my aunt is family and I can't just exclude her from everything. But as soon as we sat down, my aunt started ribbing me about that incident when I was 5. I told her to stop bringing it up, and my mom told her to stop as well. But when the cook was fixing to light the hibachi, she asked me in this really condescending way, "You sure you don't want to go hide in the corner for old time's sake?" I finally lost my temper and went off on her right in front of the whole restaurant. I basically yelled at her, Will you just shut up about that already? That was 25 years ago. Is that literally all you have to talk about? I'm sick of hearing about it. This is why I didn't invite you." I swear the entire restaurant must have been staring at me, and I felt like just walking out. The entire rest of dinner was awkward, and I couldn't even enjoy my meal. After we left, my grandmother told me that I embarrassed her in front of everyone, and that my outburst was completely uncalled for, and that I owe my aunt an apology. My parents told me I didn't owe my aunt anything, and were still angry at my grandmother for inviting her. But I still feel like an a-hole for losing my temper and yelling in front of the restaurant, and the whole thing was deeply embarrassing. My grandmother and my aunt are both blasting me on Facebook for embarrassing them in public. So am I the a-hole? No.
No.
Of course not.
Literally.
That's like making fun of someone for like crying when they were born. I was literally just out of the womb. What do you want?
I don't even know. It's just, if you don't want something that you don't like, if you don't want a topic to be brought up that involves you, then it shouldn't be that hard to not talk about it. Like, I know,
Exactly.
like, let's say a friend of mine, like, there was a story that happened, and, you know what, Sudden, we can take I will cut this out. Don't worry, but we can take, you giving as an example.
Shut up! I don't care if you put it in or not.
Okay. But like, let's say, if you seriously came up to me and you were like, I don't like the joke, like, I don't want it to be said anymore, I would respect that. I wouldn't, and even then, if I slipped up on it, I would realize it and I would apologize.
I was hosting a party a while back, and my mom's like, "Oh, invite everyone." And so I invited the people that were close to me. I didn't invite everyone. And I'm like, "Hey, if someone wants to invite someone, like, please just tell me first."
Mm-hmm.
And so one of my friends came up to me and they're like, "Hey, can you invite blank?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I must have accidentally forgotten about him, sorry." And so, but like, they checked in with me, which I loved.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so
We're back.
Hello.
Hello.
Basically, we're gonna do one more story and then we'll finish this because we're already coming in at like 30 minutes. So, we have one more story on my end. To be honest, there's another one that is kind of catching my eye a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Am I the a-hole for being upset that my boyfriend's dead grandmother ruined my birthday?
What?
In no way, shape, or form did his grandmother's death actually ruin my birthday. She was a lovely woman who I miss dearly. My boyfriend of 5 years' grandmother died this past weekend after struggling through late-stage dementia. She was truly a great person and was the cornerstone of the family. I spent every holiday at her house with my boyfriend's family for the past 4 years. She made sure I felt included, knowing that I didn't have any family in this part of the country, and for that I will always feel grateful to her. Unfortunately, her death happened exactly 1 week before my birthday. My boyfriend has understandably taken her death very hard. For the past week, I've tried to make sure everything is taken care taking care of for him, cooking, laundry, cleaning, dog walking, etc., so that he has time to grieve. What bothers me is that now that my birthday is this weekend, I wanted to do something to celebrate. I knew it wasn't the appropriate time to have a party, so I said I'd like to have a dinner with him and our friends. He immediately said, "I'm not going to be able to do anything for your birthday. I'm still grieving and I don't want you to expect anything of me." I was kind of hurt by this, but I guess appreciative that he wasn't going to promise something and then let me down when the time comes. This has been a problem in our past that we've talked about. The thing is, I told him weeks ago that I would like a love letter and maybe some flowers sent to my office the day of my actual birthday. I know he hasn't written anything and will not send flowers. I'm not assuming this. He has pretty much told me that he didn't get around to it and now doesn't have the capacity to. I guess I'm kind of bummed that even though he's grieving, he is literally putting zero effort into celebrating my birthday. I'm the type of person who is really big on birthdays. The whole situation makes me feel stupid and selfish. Obviously, his grandmother's death is more important of an event than my birthday, but I just can't help but feeling hurt and upset. Am I the a-hole for being upset that my grieving boyfriend didn't put any effort into celebrating my birthday? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why don't you do anything when you're depressed for my occasion?
Mm-hmm. It's like,
your grandma died. Why aren't you celebrating my birthday?
like, why aren't you doing anything that, like, lifts me up? Like, why aren't you doing something that supports me or is only efficient to me?
Like I understand she's trying to help him, and she's also kind of grieving by doing a lot of the housework and chores, but he literally just lost his grandma.
Everyone grieves differently. Like, I get it. She had been going to events that the grandma hosted for 4 years, but, like, he knew his grandmother for, like, years. Most of his life, even. Like, of course he's going to grieve, especially when I lost my grandfather and grandmother, I definitely was not I was not doing good.
Yeah.
Like,
what?
Continue.
My friend recently lost, or not recently, it was a few years ago, but she lost her grandfather, her nono, and I didn't know him that well, but her nonna, she says she considers me her granddaughter, which I've always taken, like, very kindly, because I never had any grandparents growing up. They had passed away before I got to meet them. And so when he died, like, she was obviously very upset. Her whole entire family just kind of shut down for a while, especially her nonna. She said that at night she could hear her crying in her parents' room when she came to live with them for a little bit. And so I just felt really bad. Like, I wanted her to know that we were there. But we were at a sleepover, and one of my other friends said that, or friend one said that, like, it was the first Christmas without him, and so it just kind of felt off. And then friend number two said maybe next year he'll be there.
Oh my god.
And friend number one, she's like, yeah. And then she just kind of broke down, and I'm like, dude,
why would you say that?
It's a bit.
I found one.
Okay. And friend number two was like a bit too soon. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, like, girl, it affects people years later. And do people not realize they can also, like, push parties back?
Yeah.
You have multiple birthdays.
Literally, and even then,
I was born in September, and I pushed my birthday party to November.
No, literally, it's so common because my family is so busy that we push birthdays or, like, special events a little bit aside. Especially for my birthday this year, I know that we did have to celebrate it, a bit after the initial day. And so it's it's not that hard to push back or like push forward to another time. Especially
Yeah.
like again, he's grieving. Let him grieve. This is something that has such a big impact on him, and it will for the rest of his life. Like let him be sad. Okay.
But if I broke my leg, you don't expect me to go out ice skating the next day. You would let me rest.
Literally. So Sidon, you said you had one?
Yeah, okay. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my boyfriend? I 25 female broke up with my BF 25. Now his family and friends won't stop calling me a beef. So I broke up with my BF of 4 years very abruptly. Sounds harsh, but I had specific reasons. I have family issues which entails trying to cope with a very violent special needs brother and taking care of my aunt. My cousin dumped on me after my mom after a big stroke. I can't read stories, guys.
That's how we were when we first read them. I'm like, English?
Okay.
Never learned it.
My mom is very stressed with both my brother and aunt. No one wants to help us, so it's up to me, like always, to put my life on pause. I resent this very much, but at the end of the day, I can't bear to see my mom have breakdown after breakdown. Now back to the boyfriend part. Last Tuesday, I got a call. My mom almost had a stroke due to the stress. I stopped everything and went back to her. I decided I have to move back and help out with her since I'm her only hope. I don't want to pile this all on my boyfriend. He already had a stressful outbringing, and this will cause him even more stress. I decided I need to break up with him. Let him move on and live life stress-free. I broke things off and moved back in a rush. I feel really bad and miss him, but I'd rather be heartbroken and lonely than have him stress and resent me for pausing everything. Now his friends and family won't stop sending me angry messages. So, am I the a-hole?
No. Not at all.
Of course not.
Literally, I feel like she's literally looking out for him more than she is herself. She knows that her life is chaotic, that she doesn't want to put him through the same chaos. That is like the least anyone can ask for.
And yeah, I don't think he and his family realize that once things get better, she gets older and more stable, they can easily say, hey, I still like you. Can we go out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great.
Like,
exactly. Like, also, I found another one.
Oh.
Am I the a-hole for divorcing my husband because he's a mama's boy?
Oh
No.
my god, I've heard this. Do it. Say it. Read it.
I know how this sounds bad, but hear me out. Me, 35 female, and my husband, 36 male, have been married for 4 years. Let me just say, his mother is a bit off and has hated me from the start. She refused to come to our wedding because I told her she could not wear white on my day. But anyways, me and my daughter Abigail, 3 female, went to Florida to visit for the first time ever. She has always came to us. When we get there, she greets him with a kiss on the lips.
Oh.
Aside it wasn't weird enough. If it was a peck, it was still on tough and saliva.
Ew.
He was basically making out with her. I acted normal and planned to talk to him in private when we went to sleep. The night, I'm so shocked I can't even read the rest. The nighttime comes and I can't find him. I look through the house and then go to find his mother. He's sleeping in her bed with his mother. She sleeps naked. He started screaming and took my daughter to a hotel nearby.
Oh.
When we got back to PA, I sat him down and gave him divorce papers
god.
Guys, I'm shocked. I'm literally. Oh my god.
I don't even know.
You
how to-
don't.
That's so weird.
Oh, you don't like incest? Divorce.
Like.
Oh,
what
you
is
don't like
that?
incest? You're automatically
overreacting.
yeah. You're a B. Like
Oh my god. Your husband's making out with his mother. You're just being dramatic.
that's so weird. Incest.
Like, I get in some cultures it's normal to like give each other a peck on the cheek, but calm down.
Like, oh my god, story time. I used to kiss my mom on the lips, but then I realized how weird it was, and then I stopped. And I think she wondered why I stopped, and I was like, that's actually weird.
No, literally. I don't know. I just find it like the idea of like someone who is blood related to me and kissing them on the lips is so nasty.
Well, I'm not blood related to my mom, so
Okay,
it
well,
wasn't
in that
as
case.
weird, but it was still pretty weird.
No.
Me and my mom just give each other a hug, a peck on the cheek, and I love you, and then we go to
Yeah.
bed.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I used to kiss my parents on the lips. It was traumatizing. I stopped giving people kisses for a long time. Like, I could not. I was like,
We're done. You're done.
No,
oh,
literally.
I have one.
Another.
Yeah. Hold on. Okay.
What time mark are we at?
Well, I mean, we're already at the 30 minutes, so right now we're at 13, so it'd be 43.
Am I the a-hole for blowing up at my therapist after what I said in a session? I feel like yes. Like, you told your therapist that.
Wait, repeat what the
Am
statement
I
is?
the a-hole for blowing up at my therapist after sharing what I said in a session? Actually,
Blowing up? Like,
It
yeah, blowing
depends.
up at my they like yelled at their therapist after sharing what I said in a session.
I honestly, it depends on what.
Oh, I get it. Am I
Explain.
the a-hole for blowing up at my therapist for sharing what I said in a session to people?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
no, not the
Yeah, I
a-hole.
feel like no, like
No.
okay. So me, 17 female, have been going to therapy for 3 years and have seen the same therapist for those years. I've always trusted my therapist and have felt a really strong connection between us. So I turn up for my weekly session, and as I'm waiting to get a message from one of my friends whose mom happens to be a therapist at the same place I go to, this consisted of her saying that the therapist, what's up app chat, my therapist was talking crap about me and sharing everything I've been saying in this last several sessions. I was completely shocked and phoned my mom crying. She told me to come home, but I didn't listen and went in. I completely blew up and started calling my therapist a B, saying she had no right, that she was crap at her job. I said she was a completely crappy person and had no respect for anyone or their own stuff they have trusted with her. I also mentioned that I would be leaving a bad review, complaining and sharing about what happened and how crappy it was of her. I went home and explained the whole situation to my family, and they started calling me an a-hole. So, am I?
No.
No,
I'm
not.
pretty sure that's illegal.
That is
I know, I was about to say,
confidentiality.
isn't that like
Confidentiality.
Someone in the comments said, not the a-hole. This is illegal. Report your therapist.
Mhm.
Exactly. I feel
Especially.
like
Oh, sorry.
I feel like if they did leave a bad review about what happened, people, might realize about how legal this is and keep the therapy. No,
I feel like, especially
It's illegal.
if it's already known that like therapists or like therapy sessions are all confidential. Like the entire confidentiality rule goes for every single therapist therapy session that you have.
yes.
Like it is like it's not different. It's all written the same. That you, whatever is said between you and your therapist stays between you and your therapist. And if your therapist goes, if your therapist,
You go.
if your therapist,
I'm sorry.
if your the fact that we both paused and then did it again.
Keep going.
If your therapist shares your personal information to their other clients, it is completely illegal.
Exactly.
Even if it, like, she wasn't sharing it to another client, she was sharing it to another therapist.
No.
That's still illegal, bestie.
Yeah, it's still not okay.
This is the end of this. Yo, whoa, first episode, how we feeling?
Should we do Google question confessions next time?
Yes. We
Okay.
will.
To everyone that sees this, we'll have a Google questions in every bio that we have, most likely. We want you to fill them out. Give us your confessions. We would love to read those.